Alright, well, you might have seen this video. I've been on the internet for a long time. It's tough to find something that shocks me, but this video of a daycare worker forcing a mask on this kid while he's screaming and clearly not wanting this thing covering his mouth, it's gut-wrenching. And I'd put it well within the bounds of child abuse. It's disgusting and tough to hear this kid crying the way he is, especially because it's not like he did something wrong and he's upset because there's some legitimate or coherent punishment he has to endure because of his behavior. No, this is a child who just wants to do what children do. Be a kid, not have to wear your mask. I'm assuming every day he has to wear this. It's fun for Halloween, but every day having to do this and put this over your face is demented. Nothing short of demented to keep over and over forcing this on his face. And if I were the parents of this kid, I'd be removing him from any building where these people are even present. And it's especially made even more heinous when you consider the numbers. And these are the CDC's numbers just to make people like that lady more accepting of them. You have 439 deaths over almost 2 years from COVID, and those 430 deaths are not just including young kids like that. This is all 0 to 17-year-olds for over a nearly 2-year period. I guess technically about 20 months or so. But that should show you very clearly how the risk assessment of these people is dead. They have no ability to assess risk and then act accordingly. We're talking about a vanishingly small number of children, percentage-wise, that die from this over almost 2 years again. And yes, every one of those 439 is definitely tragic, but when we're talking about how to treat tens of millions of children in day-to-day life, day in, day out, using those 439 to treat a child like this is disgusting. The ability to have a little bit of perspective is dead. And I've used this as an example before, but if these adults are going to be this disturbing when it comes to children and COVID, well then I'm still waiting to see the outrage in the protests over swimming pools. Because about 350 children aged 1 to 4 die every year from drowning in a pool. Extrapolate from that over 20 months, you could estimate about 600 kids die from drowning during the period of COVID. When, just as a reminder, that 439 number I mentioned before, that also includes 5 to 17-year-olds too. So drowning is far worse, and it's far more of a threat. So why are these people not out in droves protesting to ban all children from going near any body of water? That would actually be consistent. If you're going to go that far with COVID, which is far less of a threat than a pool, it would make sense to bar all children from any body of water, save maybe a bathtub. Now someone might say, but when you bring a kid to a pool, you put a life vest on them or a flotation device on them, and so how is a mask any different? Alright, fair question, but not for nothing, that flotation device is not guaranteed to be strapped on that kid every single day, and it's not going over their faces, making it a bit more difficult to breathe, and it's not going over your face, preventing them from seeing your face, which, also not for nothing, we evolved for about 60 million years or so, with that being a very important aspect of development. Who knows how that affects kids as they grow up. And also, they can actually kind of have fun with those flotation devices. And yeah, those are real differences when it comes to kids, but the real point is that if you are going to react in such an absurdly over-the-top way with COVID, and treat kids this way because of it, given that swimming pools are far more dangerous and deadly with or without protection, if you want to be consistent, you should be looking at every pool as if it's some volcano that could erupt at any moment. But they don't look at them that way. Because, the media and the politicians are just not telling them to be that terrified enough when it comes to pools. And regardless, I'd be willing to bet they might say, well, yeah, pools are dangerous and a kid could drown or just be under the water for a bit too long and suffer brain damage from the lack of oxygen. But you need to be able to weigh that risk with allowing kids to have fun, to be kids, and be a bit free, even with death being a possibility. Otherwise, what's the point? Well, I would agree with them on that, but I'd have to ask them what the hell is their excuse when it comes to COVID then, even though I know the answer already, which is the media and politicians have caused them all to suffer from mob-like madness. But that is all for now. Like, subscribe, share the video. It's a big help, and take it easy.